Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Sprocket. And you may be wondering why I am showing you this, which if you've watched the previous Sprocket video you'll know is the Arthur heavy tank destroyer, which I showed in the last video, except in a bit of a funny way. And that's because this is actually a different faction. This is my other folder. This is, well, I say that, it's my faction which is just simply titled Other. And this is for any tanks or builds that don't fall into a conventional category that I already have, such as German tanks or British tanks or something along those lines. And it's also where I do any sort of testing if there's something going wrong with a tank, such as, for example, the Arthur, which the Arthur that you saw is actually the second version of the Arthur, because this one, yeah, the sort of points sort of got all messed up. As you can see, this is not how freeform hulls are meant to look. Yeah, it sort of it doesn't work, as you can see. So yeah, this Arthur was unfortunately lost, and I had to start again from scratch. But this is just a taste of what's in the Other folder. So here is Other, as you can see. Some of these I don't actually know what these things are, like this. Interesting. I remember what this was for now. Yeah, this is sort of like a triple-barreled artillery thing, which I didn't finish because I sort of ran out of time, and it was for a challenge, but I never actually finished it. This is, yeah, a triple-barreled artillery piece, just for fun, because why not? I think these are actually 6-inch guns. Yeah, there you go. You can see down the bottom left-hand corner there, BL 6-inch Mark 7 naval guns, British guns, which, yeah, I didn't finish it, as you can see. But yeah, this was simply titled 71. So you can see that this is going to have some weird and wacky things, such as this thing, which is called the Annihitonk, which is a part of the Annihilator from World of Tanks Blitz, and the Tonk, if you know the meme tank, the tank from Italy, which is actually a war memorial tank. But there was a challenge in Sprocket a long time ago now, which was to build a revamped Tonk, I suppose it was, where you sort of had you got given the Tonk turret, and you were basically told build a tank that used the Tonk turret. And this was my first design. This is well, yeah, it's a tiny little hull fitted with the Tonk turret mounted vertically as a sort of Annihilator-esque tank, which doesn't actually have any ammo, because this was before the ammo update came around. So let me see if we can't actually fix this and just fit some ammo in here. Come on, Tonk. Oh, hey, there we go. So yeah, we can fit some Tonk ammo in here. Well, fit some ammo for the Tonk, rather. Can we then duplicate it? Hello? No, never mind. Never mind, that's all the ammo we need. So yeah, we got 37 rounds now stowed in the tank. There you go. So yeah, this was a Annihitonk. As you can see, we've got the Italian Kingdom of Italy flag there. This was late war, I do believe, and yeah, this is just sort of like a funny little meme tank, because it was a meme challenge at the end of the day. It's using a Tonk turret. So yeah, the Tonk turret here we've got, because of how it's mounted vertically, I've actually fitted hatches on the top here. There's also some hatches on the main oscillating turret faces here, well, the main part of the oscillating turret. As you can see, it doesn't quite want to work all the time. We're going to have to drag it down here. Come on. There you go, it doesn't quite work properly there, but yeah, so we've got a rear hatch thing here, which I suppose is for chucking shells out of the back, I guess. But yeah, so we've got some little entrance hatches here, we've got some hatches there. We've got some side hatches, well, a side hatch on that side, and then we've got some stowage on the other side there. We've got the two commander's cupolas here, which I do actually quite like. It's very Sherman-esque, at least to my eyes. And then we've got the driver right in the centre there. We've got some got some front lights there. Engine obviously at the back there, and we've got some spare fuel. And yeah, it's just the Annihilator but tonk form, because if I fire this thing and hold down the fire button, it fires all three of them at once. And it's actually got a very fast reload. As you can see, yeah, very, very fast to reload this thing. And what's more, you can even use it as anti-air because of how fast it is and how relatively quick this tracking is. Yeah, you can quickly track down some enemy targets and fire this thing at them. Yeah, it's a sort of funny meme tank. Very funny, very meme. Annihilator, because everyone hates the Annihilator. We've got some spare track links all over it. Spare wheel right there. Plenty of ventilation, twin exhausts around the side. And yeah, it's relatively fast, even with the mobility update for Sprocket changing its transmission. It's still pretty decently fast. The gun-wise, I believe they're 60mm. Let's have a look. Cannon 60mm. Yes, there you go. They're 60mm with 197mm of penetration. They fire in the proper Annihilator firing pattern. And yeah, it's just funny meme tonk. Talking of funny meme tonk, the actual one that I submitted, which didn't come last, is this thing, the Sturmtonk, because I thought, what's funnier than an Annihilator? Fitting a massive Sturmtiger turret, Sturmtiger gun onto the tonk. And where's the actual tonk turret here? Well, it's this top little 30mm gun right here. Unfortunately, this was this was done before actually placeable ammo racks were in the game, which meant that this thing, the actual 30mm gun, I think it might have actually had more penetration than this, because I had to like shorten it or something. I think I had to shorten the propellant length, so it actually had like over 100mm of penetration on this 30mm gun, but unfortunately it's now only 84mm. But yeah, still, this is actually a 380mm gun at the front here. We do carry 8 rounds of ammo inside of it, and this thing does actually have a fast rate of fire for being a 30mm. And we do of course have a machine gun right on top of that turret. So yeah, Commander, obviously he's in there, and he does the whole operating and firing of it, I think. Or does he have a loader with him? No, he has a loader and a gunner with him. Yeah, he has 3 people with him. And we were allowed to go far over. Yeah, we were able to go far over internal space rather. So yeah, we've got the proper German layered road wheels, just to give it that authentic German feel. And then of course we have German flag there. It's very Tiger-like, at least in terms of its hull, which is the point of it, obviously. And then we've just got the central mounted gun here. We've got a bow machine gun. There's the gunner's sight there, and then we've got a driver's viewport there, rather. Let's check the gun actual penetration of this thing. Can't remember. 443mm of penetration. And yeah, mobility update has kind of made it a bit slower than it was, but it's still relatively fast. And yeah, it didn't come last, which is quite impressive. Unfortunately though, the cannon, there was I think, was there another update to the guns? I think there might have been an update to the guns, which sort of made this gun a little bit slower well, didn't give it enough force rather to elevate. But yeah, as you can see there, the 30mm, if we switch to it, or what is it? No, I can't remember the button to it, but as you can see, the actual 30mm gun here does actually have the rate of fire of a 30mm gun, or at least a pretty fast autocannon rate of fire. So yeah, as you can see, that can easily take down light vehicles, and then of course the big gun can take down the heavier vehicles. Once it reloads, obviously, it doesn't have a particularly fast rate of reload, unfortunately. But yeah, like I say, it didn't come last for the competition. It didn't come first, at least. At least it didn't come first, unfortunately. There you go. But at least it didn't come last. And yeah, it's just sort of like funny meme Sturm tonk with a big gun. What more could you ask for? But yeah, so there's that. The Chamberlain anti-tank here I didn't actually do anything with, unfortunately. I was probably going to do something with it. This cardboard box tank was not made by me, it's just a funny tank on the Sprocket Discord that was a while ago now, actually. But yeah, it's a funny little tank. Turret 1 is not connected to the vehicle. That's a shame. This is what the Crassus was originally sat in, and then I made it British, well, proper British, and then just gave it a British designation. So yeah, that's the old Crassus, which I'll actually get rid of. There you go. And then there's the base Gladiator hull, which is how it came from the challenge. So yeah, there's the base Gladiator hull there. Now, land battleship. Yeah, it's a land battleship. It's a Victorian-style battleship for the theme of the fortnight, which is a different challenge thing that runs parallel to the main Sprocket Discord challenges, but still on the Sprocket Discord. There was one to build land battleships, or just battleships in general. I can't remember. So I went with this. And what this is, it is a sort of Victorian-style land battleship. So it's World War I era. I had to do a lot of fiddling around with file editing in order to actually get this allow this to be able to move in the first place. As you can see, it's got a 64-litre V16 engine, which is definitely not what you can get in World War I, but here we are. So it's got 2 smoke funnels here. We've got some little lifeboats here, which I'm actually very pleased with how these things turned out. These things look really nice. And then we've got the twin turrets here, which have got proper cannons, actual, cannons, not cannons like a tank cannon, but an actual 32-pounder cannon, naval cannon from like 1860 or something. So yeah, these things are fun. They're in there. 162 millimeters, 162 millimeter caliber propellant length to simulate a solid shot cannonball. So it has 66 millimeters of penetration. We have got a gun on, twin guns on 2 turrets there, and then yeah, I'm not the best at building ships in Sprocket. I will openly admit that. This thing here is meant to be the mast, but obviously lots of people were like funny Christian cross, which is how it looks because that's how a mast looks. On the back of the turrets we've got a little hatch here. And then, of course, we have got wheels just running along the front there. Running all along the sides to actually make it go. But as you can see, it doesn't go. It definitely doesn't go along. The slopes, at least, as you can see. It just doesn't like it. It works better on flat terrain, obviously. So on the flat sandbox, it works better. But yeah, as you can see, looking down the guns doesn't look too bad. You can fire off a big broadside of both guns. It got about a 10-second reload time on it, which not too bad, not too bad, not too good. Let's fire it again. There you go, lovely. It didn't win, obviously. I was one of the last submissions actually for the theme of the fortnight, so that definitely didn't help. But yeah, it's not too bad. It was pretty interesting building battleship turrets in funny tank game, but it was definitely something, and this is definitely something. It's definitely a land battleship for sure. But yeah, so that is the land battleship. Not really too much more to say about that. This thing is an attempt at Leonardo's fighting vehicle. I've built Leonardo's fighting vehicle in brick rigs, if you remember that. I did build a fighting vehicle in brick rigs, both in its original form, well, I say original, in an original form, and also in sort of like a modern form. And so this is sort of like a hybrid, I guess, because it has sort of like this funny turret at the top here. It's not the best one out there, I'm openly going to say that. It's definitely as slow as a real one, at least, but yeah, it's definitely not the best fighting vehicle you've ever seen, or replica of Leonardo's fighting vehicle in Sprocket that you've ever seen, because I'm still not particularly great with freeform and doing freeform shapes. This is sort of the best I could do for a sort of cone type shape, which still didn't turn up particularly great, but hey, there we go. That's why it's in the other faction. So the next two things here is going to be this M1949 gun carriage and the M60 atomic carrier. And if any of you are in the Sprocket Discord or are subscribed to Coulson's channel, which now I'll put a link in the description. Why not? There you go, Coulson. Have a link in the description. But yeah, he's called the Wonder Waffle on YouTube, and he ran a meme competition, which was basically you scored points for having the most. Actually, it was cursed. It was the cursed series. That's what it was. And it was basically you score points for having more cursed items on your tank or within, and there was a whole list of cursed things where if you were either under something or over something, you would get a point, and there would be like double points if you managed to successfully do something. It's something really out there, and so yeah, you'd score points for getting more cursed things in the first part. So yeah, going into actual combat, if you had more cursed points or for your vehicle, you would get more cursed. You'd have a better score going into it. And then there was a knockout bracket competition elimination, where the vehicles were fought against each other in a knockout competition. You know, same as any sort of tournament. And there you go. And actually, I came second and third with these things. The first one is this: the M1949 gun carriage. And if you're wondering what caliber this thing is, it's 914 millimeters. It's a 914 millimeter mortar. It's called the Little David. It's the largest conventional weapon, I suppose, that's ever been built that fires an actual modern projectile. It was a very late war thing which never actually got finished. Well, it got tested, but didn't actually go into sort of any sort of operational thing. But yeah, massive mortar, which I have basically housed in a massive mortar carrier. That's all this thing is. It's just a massive mortar carrier. So yeah, here's the gun, the Little David, 828 millimeters of penetration, which definitely got me a point on that front. And yeah, and for actual ammo, we do manage to fit 4 rounds into this thing somehow. As you can see, these are the massive size of the projectiles. As for these blocks, one of the cursed points was to have 5 or more operational guns. You couldn't just have any guns on there. They had to be operational and used, and so that's what these things are. This is a quad 20mm. This is a quad 20mm flak turret, essentially, fitted on top, which actually got all of the kills in the, unfortunately, in the knockout bracket. This thing did all the heavy lifting, which, bit of a surprise there, but 96mm penetration for these quad 20mm, so I had 5 operational guns, that got me a point. We also have, I think this is 16 exhausts, which got me another point. And yeah, I had over 500mm of frontal armor, which got me a point as well. We had loads of lights and everything on here. We have a massive spare wheel there because, yeah, these are the wheels. They're triple layered on here. Triple layered, 4 sets of road wheels, and then idler wheel, drive wheel. Engine at the front, right here. We got the driver and radio operator here. Commander, gunner, all of that good stuff there here. As to where they fit, don't question it. That's just how it is. And yeah, armor-wise, we have like basically 200mm of frontal armor here, which gave us effective over 500mm, which yeah, really was not particularly bad at all. And yeah, so this is the M1949. Does it want to drive? No, it doesn't. Thank you, Sprocket. Thank you, Sprocket Mobility Update. It has broken my vehicle. Thank you very much. But yeah, so here's the actual mortar carrier right here. Let me select fire group 1, I think, is that? Let me see, do I remember how to do this? No, I do not. No, I do not, never mind. But yeah, so the actual mortar carrier here can elevate to pretty high position, then we can fire it. Can we? Hello? No, come on. If we elevate it up, come on, there we go, and then we fire it, come on. It does not want to fire because I don't know why, but here we go. There you go. Now it fired. Okay, let's just not do it from a particularly high elevated position. Let's just, there you go. Lovely. So yeah, mobility update has unfortunately completely broken the M1949. It does not want to move at all. Obviously, it doesn't like the engine or something, or the transmission or something. Something's gone wrong with it, and it doesn't want to drive. But yeah, mortar carrier. Massive mortar, reloads in about 100 seconds because funny, because the loader has loads of space which he doesn't actually have in there. But in order to make it so that it didn't reload in like 20 minutes, which I'm not exaggerating by the way, if I had left this loader at their default loading speed, it would have taken over 10 minutes to reload this gun. Actual real life minutes it would have taken. But yeah, so the 20mm here were actually doing all the heavy lifting. As you can see, we've got plenty of rounds here. We've got over, I think, over 1,000 rounds. Oh no, yeah, we have over like 4,000 rounds of 20mm ammo here. It's actually stowed in the tank for this 20mm gun. So yeah, this is basically sort of like a flak gun in lore terms. This is a flak gun to protect the tank, but it's also the only thing that actually killed anything during the brackets. Coulson did make videos on all of the tank brackets fighting each other, so yeah, go watch that. But yeah, so the 20mm gun was what actually killed everything. As you can see, lots of fire rate, full 360 degrees, and it was basically able to sort of point down and just fire through the thin top armour of most tanks that it faced, which is what actually got the kills. The main mortar didn't actually kill anything. Coulson struggled, I will admit, with actually aiming the mortar and actually getting the arc correct to actually make it hit anything. He always aimed a bit too low down to actually hit anything there, but with it. But yeah, it makes a nice big explosion when it actually hits something, and yeah, it can sort of penetrate through anything. But that was the first submission that I had for it. The second submission I had for it was this, which is the M60 atomic carrier, and as you can expect from the name, it carries the Atomic Annie atomic cannon. How, you ask, because we don't actually have nuclear devices in Sprocket. The answer is just loads of stacked guns, pretty much. Yeah, it's just got 4 guns stacked on top of each other. They're all 250mm, I think. The actual gun is 260mm or something, but yeah, it was basically just loads of guns stacked on top of each other. 582mm penetration. Actual ammo, we had 28 rounds stowed. These ones haven't stuck correctly. I don't know why you're like this. Can you not be like this? Thanks. Let me fix the ammo. There you go. And then you. Come on. There you go. And then you. There you go. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the ammo there, but yeah, this was a nuclear carrier. It did very well actually in bracket. Was able to kill lots of things, even when it didn't directly hit them. And if I fire this thing, yeah, it has quite the kickback. Yeah, even when it didn't hit things, it still killed them, even with just close hits. And the power of this thing was that when it did hit something, the game didn't register it as dying to the projectile, it just counted it as dying to the world. That's how much force and power was behind the nuclear cannon here. Yeah, it sort of killed a lot of things. As you can see, that's a big explosion. And yeah, anything that it hit, it killed using environmental damage, according to the thing. Again, go watch Coulson's videos on the cursed brackets for the first cursed videos if you want to see how these things did and what the other competitions look, what the other competitors' vehicles look like. Because there were some good tanks in there. Oh well, just good vehicles in general in there. But obviously, my tank's the main attraction, obviously. But But yeah, this thing did quite well. It's very slow though, even more so with the mobility update, but yeah, it wasn't particularly fast either way. There was a third tank though, which I submitted, which was called the Tiny Tim, and here it is, because it's a monotrack. Yeah, just a monotrack. It's very small, as you can see. There is a gun in here. The gun is a 75mm gun here with 204mm of penetration. This thing was all about mobility, due to being a monotrack. As you can see, it's very fast. Zoom zoom. Even with the mobility updates, this thing is still very zoomy. It was a bit too zoomy though, and yeah, Coulson couldn't really deal with it. So I'm not surprised though, to be fair, because nobody can really deal with this thing. It's very zoomy. This is the gun view. As you can see, there's the gun. Gun's just in there, 200mm of penetration. Despite its flaws, I do very much like this thing. I just like the idea of a monotrack. As you can see though, no gun arc whatsoever. It is a tank destroyer style gun mounted in there, just mounted sort of literally in there. But as you can see, it's very fast, very zoomy. Doesn't deal with hills particularly well here, but yeah, it's just a funny monotrack. It got some points for being cursed, as it should do, because it's cursed. And yeah, despite it, I do quite like this thing. If I was to do it again, I would of course fix the gun having no arc, and fix it being very wobbly here. But yeah, it's just Tiny Tim. It's just a fun little curse tank monotrack, because that was one of the options, having less than 2 tracks. So it didn't completely fail. But yeah, it was the only tank of mine that didn't get through the first round, and it was also the only one that didn't get to a semi-finals or finals situation, which unfortunate, but I did have 3 tanks at least submitted, so yeah, at least 2 of them managed to do something. So yeah, there's the Tiny Tim. Not particularly bad, not particularly great. This thing was for the Gearsled. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was another Sprocket tank challenge. And this thing uses a 177mm gun, which I was the only one to use this gun. So, you know, thanks for putting in that gun just for me. But yeah, this is sort of like just a heavy tank, funny heavy tank. I can't remember the actual details of the competition as to what you needed. It needed to be under 50 tons, and it had to be faster than a certain amount, and it had to use a certain gun and a certain engine out of the selection that we were given. We were given a selection of guns and a selection of engines, and told you had to use one of these things, and they all came with fault points for depending on whether they were suited or not suited. Yeah, crew, not sure where they fit, doesn't matter. Funny triangle turret. Yeah, it's slower than it was, obviously, mobility, update, blah blah blah. Actual gun, 22-second reload time, but 177mm gun, 400 and something millimeters of penetration. Not too bad. It can cross trenches. It's actually still fairly mobile. It's it was more mobile before the update, mobility update, but even so, look at that spin. Yeah, so we got some tarpaulins on the side there. We've got a hatch on the side there as well. We have some spare wheels on the side there. We have got the British designation thing there. Commander there with a rear pintle-mounted machine gun for rear-facing defense. Hull machine gun, which is where the radio operator is, and then of course the driver's there. Got some lights mounted on the side there for some headlights. Yeah, side skirts. Good old British tank style design. I was going to go with the Churchill design, but then I thought, you know what, let's not. Yeah, rear hatch there for fitting ammo into the tank and stuff. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, decent enough heavy tank. Late war, I think this is. Yeah, late war. Armor-wise, it's not too bad. 200mm front, but effective due to the sloping. 400, 500, 300. Yeah, not too bad. Same with the hull. So yeah, pretty strong from the front. The side armor, 76mm on the side. 100 with the side skirts, or even without the side skirts. Actually, I think it might just be 100 base side hull. Let's see if I can fit in there. Yeah, I think it's just 100mm straight. Yeah, 100mm straight. Interesting. Okay, and then yeah, 2730 yeah, 22, 25, yeah. You know, just not particularly much rear armour, because it's rear armour. And then hull top armour 20mm, but then it is highly sloped, so you can't really get up the top there. Yeah, it's not particularly bad sort of heavy tank, British style heavy tank, but yeah, it's just general heavy tank. It didn't win the contest. Obviously, I don't win Sprocket contests. I'm not that great. But yeah, it was still fun. Now this thing though. Ponsonby armoured car, built by my automation company Ponsonby. There it is. This was a thing that I started in automation but never finished, and then it got wiped with an automation update, so it will never be finished. But this is essentially what if my car company built a armoured car prototype, and that's what this is. So you've got riveting all around the top. This is a top turret. We've got, obviously, co-driver here. It's sort of like a van-style car. We have the engine bay here, built in the Ponsonby style as best I can do it. We've got the 2 sets of wheels here, no suspension, rear entrances there, top hatch there. It has a Vickers gun, I think, in here. It says 20mm, but it's obviously less. It is less than that. And it does actually have the rate of fire of a machine gun. As you can see, it's not fast, obviously. It's World War I van. It can go, how fast? 5 kilometers an hour. But it does at least have a machine gun on it. I think if we were to spawn another one of these things... where are we? Here we are. Wonder if I can actually kill it. Yes, I can. It can kill me. Where is it? There it is. Take it out. I think it might actually have too much armour for this thing to take out. We're getting some damaging there. I can't see. The armour works at least. There he is. Oh, he's turning. Take the gun. Go for the wheels, Yeah, he's driving away. He's given up. he's grown bored of this. Can we... See, because he technically doesn't have tracks, I can't really take out his drivetrain. We at least have lots of ammo to waste on this guy. Lower glacis? Nope. Go for the engine? No, the armour is too great. It's very fun though. Very cathartic. Sort of just messing around with a machine gun like this. But yeah, it's got 10mm of armour all around it. As you can see, the shots are not penetrating. And yeah, it's just a fun little armoured car, to be perfectly honest. It's probably one of my favourite things in the World War I era that I have made. As you can see, it doesn't have very good penetration. I think it has like 12mm of penetration, but obviously over distance that disappears. But yeah, it's just a funny armoured car. Not too bad. Now this thing though, this was for another Sprocket challenge. This was for an Allies medium tank competition, is what is the name of it. And again, we were given a selection of guns and a selection of engines and told, have at it, build something that can deal with late war German tanks. And so this is what I made, the Smilodon Mark I, and it is essentially an Allied mouse. As to how I've made it. It's not really a medium tank at this point, it's a heavy tank. 250mm of frontal turret, 200mm of frontal hull, sloped. Yeah, 90mm of side armour, 100mm of side armour on the hull, 40mm across the rear, and then 20mm of upper, 30mm of upper hull, yep, and then lower 10mm, yeah. And we even have a lower hatch on the bottom for crew escape. But yeah, this is essentially an Allied mouse tank. It mounts a 120mm main gun and a 17-pounder coaxial gun. So pretty much what a mouse had. But Allied equivalents, this is a 120mm, 120 T53 gun, and then this is the QF-17, the 17-pounder. And it didn't win, obviously, but it was fun. Yeah, you could fire both guns or fire off one at a time. Either way, so you still had your coaxial gun, and then you had your main gun. So there you go. Yeah, coaxial gun works perfectly fine. Then of course the main gun will also work at some point. There we go. But yeah, it can deal with any sort of German tank. It can deal with the. It can deal with this. It can't deal with. I don't know why I'm spawning this. Oh, he missed. No, he didn't. There you go. He did kill me. That's the power of the atomic cannon. But yeah, it's not bad. Not particularly bad. I can't remember why it lost. I think it was mobility, or they were just better tanks on offer. But yeah, I've just got like the 5th Legion here for some reason, because fun. Machine guns at the top there for protection. Some crew hatches on here, commander cupola there obviously. Rear box, spare fuel. Some ventilation there, some spare crew packs. And yeah, it wasn't particularly slow, and it wasn't particularly fast, because I just can't do that. But yeah, rear ejection port there, spare greeblings. Yeah, the reason it's called Smilodon is because for hunting big rodents, like the mouse, you need a big cat, and the Smilodon's a big cat, and that's the name. That's why it's called the Smilodon, because it's a big rodent hunter for the mouse, contemporary to the mouse to deal with it. Yeah, so that's the Smilodon. Not too bad. I quite like it. I do have to admit, it's not too bad. And then the final thing we have here is the Type 15 light tank, which was built for the Czechoslovak heavy tank competition. It was disqualified due to the transmission. Azima eventually did go back over this thing and give me actual feedback, because I wanted him to. Thank you, Azima. But yeah, there was multiple other problems with it. But essentially it is land battleship, because for Azima's competitions I am never going to win them, so I think, what can I do to just make as meme of a tank as possible that's still within the competition boundaries, and this is what I came up with for this one. So it's a battleship turret here. We've got triple 47mm Skoda guns, because we had 2 selections of guns. We've got a whole machine gun here, driver's sight there, commander there. Yeah, there were other problems with it, but essentially engine at the back here, Australia-Hungary there, and then I fitted Austria-Hungary down there. Big Czechoslovak roundel there. I made a custom decal for Azima there, so Azima's Demise is what I named it, because, yeah, funny. Czechoslovak flag. Spare wheel, spare parts, lots of riveting, because it was 1933 was the time period that Azima said we had to work with. So we had to have no more than 40mm of frontal armour, which is what I have here. 40mm, which is then sloped. Side armour is 35, rear is 20. Yes, 20 sloped there. The actual turret ring is also 40, yes, because we have to look out for these things in Azima competitions. 16mm of upper armour, because that was part of the requirements. And yeah, it unfortunately didn't make it to any sort of second round, but even so, you can fire off all of the guns by themselves, or you can fire them off one at a time, which I cannot for the life of me remember what the button is. There you go. Fire Group 2, Fire Group 3, Fire Group 1. So yeah, you can fire them off independently, or you can fire them all one at a time. Or all at once, rather, is what I should say. But yeah, it's not, great, not bad. It's just a funny Czechoslovakian tank, and of course I don't have any sort of Czechoslovakian faction, so it goes into other. But yeah, this is the final tank that I really have to show, and then I did make a sort of model 1945 variant here for an AI tank for a different competition that Asimov was going to do, but he didn't end up selecting it, so never mind. But yeah, this is just sort of like a late war variant of it. So we have triple 75mm guns here instead of the 47mm, and we just have extra armor on it and whatnot. So yeah, nothing too outrageous, nothing too crazy. They're still very fast firing for 75mm guns, but still, you know, it didn't go anywhere, and yeah, so it remains an other. But yeah, that is all of the miscellaneous tanks that I have to show for today. I will thank you all for watching. If you do want any of these tanks, I will leave a link in the description to the Google Drive, and I will have the Google Drive also pinned in the Blueprints channel of my Discord. So you know, feel free to join the Discord and check them out there as well, and any of your designs that you wish to post there as well. So yeah, go ahead, and if you want any of these things, they will be there either in the Discord or in the Google Drive. And yeah, that is it. I will thank you all for watching, and goodbye.